Committee on Education, and also government has said that the NABCO trainees, they have maintained, or they've employed 38,000 people permanently. So they don't know why other people will go onto the streets and then demonstrate. We'll be looking into these issues right here on the show, and we have a story for you concerning an issue that happened yesterday between a police officer and a civilian. We'll be bringing you updates on that story too, so stay with us. But let me remind that the show is ably powered by myactiveonline.com, myactiveonline.com, where we have in store for you a lot of news and information on what is happening in Ghana and around the world. The show is also supported by Ruby's Elegance. Ruby's Elegance is a makeup outfit where they do makeup for ladies and male as well for special events. You can call Ruby's Elegance on 0205 154 443, 0205 154 443. She's mobile, and wherever she is, she will be glad to come to your aid and have your makeup done for you. We are also supported by Fehankra Designs. Fehankra Designs is a male fashion design house where they do design nice outfits for men for any event, wedding, funeral, any event that requires you as a gentleman to put on a beautiful outfit. Fehankra Designs will sort you out, and he is located at Ablekuma Pentecost Junction. Ablekuma Pentecost Junction. You can call him on 0249 504 845, 0249 504 845, and they will sort you out. Now, sports is up next. We'll go for a short commercial break, and when we come back, sports is next. Welcome back to the morning show right here on Active TV, and I'm here to give you some updates in the sports world, and I'm starting with the interim coach of Super Eagles of Nigeria, Augustine Iguavon, and he is saying that he's not worried about the threat of the Black Stars when the two West African giants meet in the playoff of the 2022 World Cup qualifying series later next month. According to Iguavon, his team knows their elements and the level of the game that's making it easy for him. We have two tough games against Ghana next month, but I'm not too worried because we have a squad that knows it is a mountain that we have to climb. We have a good headache to deal with, which is a surplus of good players. I want to thank the government and the Nigerian Football Federation for all the support during the AFCON. We will need even greater support for the World Cup playoff, so that is coming in from the camp of the Super Eagles of Nigeria. And so on the Super Eagles, and then one of their defenders and assistant captain William Troost Ekon has asked the Nigerian Football Federation to put the Moshood Abiola Stadium pitch in good shape ahead of the second leg of the 2022 World Cup qualifiers against Ghana on March 27. The defender said this during a meeting with the Nigerian Football Federation and the Sports Ministry to prepare for the qualifiers. He told them, "We love the pitch of the stadium in Garua, and it helped us play some good football. We will be delighted if the Abuja Stadium similar competition for the second leg." And now let's move on to Ghanaian striker Khalid Bassett, who who made his debut for the Sheriff Tiraspol in the Europa League. Now, Ghanaian striker Abdul Khalid Basit has made his European debut with Moldovan club Sheriff Tiraspol by coming off the bench in the second half against Sporting Braga. The player joined the club in September from Tunisian club Esperance, but was not involved in the Champions League because he arrived later after the registration. The Moldovan side beat the Portuguese club by 2 goals ahead of the second leg next week. His compatriots Patrick Bozo, Razak Abalura and Edmond Ado, who suspended, were not involved in the match. Now, Fabio Gama is set to miss the Super Clash against Accra House of Oak on the despite returning to injury. The Brazilian missed Kotoko's last 8 matches due to injury, and though has returned to training this week, he will likely not be risked in the game that often has high stakes. In similar situation is new signing Isaac Opon, who missed the last 10 matches. Now, Mudasiru Salifo, who missed last weekend's game against Lions, is likely to return for the Super Clash after recovering quickly from the ailments that sidelined him last week. Now let's move to the European League, where Ferran Torres scores as Barcelona draw with Napoli. Now, Barcelona's new signing from Manchester City, Ferran Torres, scored in his Europa League debut for the club, but it was not enough as the Catalans were held in their Europa League knockout playoff first leg encounter at the Nou Camp. Another of the new signing, Adama Traore, won the penalty, which was dispatched by Torres, cancelled out Napoli's lead ahead of the return leg next week. Now, Kalidou Koulibaly led a resilient Napoli defense to thwart all the attacking threats Barcelona created by their new front three of Traore, Aubameyang and Torres. Torres was caught on camera crying after the whistle, probably for the many chances he squandered in the match. Now, Borussia Dortmund centre-back Mats Hummels has labelled his side's recent performance as nonsensical following another heavy defeat, by this time to Rangers in the Europa League on Thursday night. Dortmund saw themselves 3-0 down in 49 minutes before Jude Bellingham pulled one back 2 minutes later. However, an own goal by Dan Axel Zagadou 3 minutes later meant the German club has a high mountain to climb, despite Rafael Guerrero pulling another back in the 81st minute. Mats Hummels summed up the team's performance as nonsensical, with the club conceding in similar manner against Leverkusen a couple of weeks ago in the Bundesliga. Now, Ousmane Dembele made a return to the Barcelona squad after his failed transfer coup in January. He replaced Adama Traore on 65th minutes to mark his return to the fold. Prior to the match, Xavi has stated that he would be involved whenever the club needs him, despite the players being warned to get out of the club or risk sitting in the stands for the rest of the season after he refused to renew his deal with the Catalans. Now let's do some transfer news. Nana Opoku Ampoma, who is a Ghanaian winger, will swap Europe for Asia with Chinese Super League side Wuhan FC needing his services in China. Ampoma, owned by Fortuna Düsseldorf in Germany, has been on loan in Belgium with Royal Antwerp and has been there since October 2020 when he made the switch. He has not been able to establish himself in either Germany or Belgium, and with a year left on his deal at Fortuna, he will see this as a chance to re-establish his career and also earn good money. Now, Paris Saint-Germain are willing to break the records and make Kylian Mbappe the highest earner at the club and in the world if he renew with them. Mbappe is heading towards free agency with his contract up at the end of the season, but PSG are not willing to let go and will offer him close to 1 million euros a week to stay at Paris the Prince. PSG. Okay, so still on PSG, and PSG is reportedly interested in bringing Cristiano Ronaldo to France at the end of the season, with the former Real Madrid and Juventus superstar looking unsettled at Manchester United. Ronaldo moved back to United in the summer in a shock last-minute deal. Prior to that, there were talks of him joining PSG after the League One signed Barcelona man Lionel Messi for free. A union of the two could now be on the cards, especially if Mbappe fails to renew his contract. Now let's move on to Chelsea, and Chelsea is set to open a contract extension talks with Mason Mount in the coming months, despite his current deal not up until 2024. The Blues have had key issues with renewals when players get into their final year of their contracts, with a number of their players in similar situation now, a trend they want to avoid with the England international. Now let's move on to Real Madrid, and they have reportedly submitted an offer for Borussia Dortmund striker Erling Haaland. Kylian Mbappe is expected to stay at PSG following the Parisians' new offer to the forward. Even if Madrid does get Mbappe, they still want to have another prolific scorer added to their staples. Barcelona is also interested in Haaland, but La Liga president has shut down a possible deal, citing their financial woes. And Manchester United is not expecting Paul Pogba to make U-turn, having failed to renew his contract. The France international will be a free agent in the summer, but has not said anything regarding his future, though United expects him to move on. Meanwhile, Pogba will consider staying with a Premier League club if the right offer comes, but the stumbling block would be he earns 200,000 euros per week. Now, finally, let's move on to West Ham and Newcastle, and both teams are set for a long fight for the signature of Cameroon captain Vincent Aboubakar. The 2021 AFCON Golden Boot winner is currently with Saudi Arabian side Al Nassr, but could move to Europe with either of the Premier League clubs in the summer. And that will be all for sports updates here on the Active Morning. We'll be right back after this break.
Memoakwa eba Kratos eba clinic. Many Dr. Penia, Meda clinic yano. Medin NT Dr. Samura Santientry. Me alliances doctor. Clinic insu alliances clinic. Abayama yitumi say yitumi eye eduma. Yare bebrebe ehu eduma ene ye ewaha. Baby awo bi afashi utirimu say yehwe apenfo di apenfo awo asomdwuma yenye omo operation. Dompe abu eno nso ye hu eduma pa. Yen ene afi 2021 aban ebo ya baso na yenya abaso bode ye say e obi a yebo modern ewo stroke ayarehwe mu pa. Eno achi no yare a ebite say sexual weakness, prostate disorders and prostate problems and as infertility your pulse your yare ahodo bebre a ebrinti yentumi nkan kire obi tumi age number eno afre doctor ewo 0247 77 1981 and 0261 425985. Hwe clinic actually kwan ewo Pokuase Afiaman ye ben Presby transformer ye yeduma free edwoda ekosi memenda anopa no nwotwe kosi anumere nonum ne efa na enso se memenda de a kai nation nso se ye pon anumere nonan enefa. Kratos wish you good health. Kratos the power to heal.
All SIM cards in Ghana must be registered again with only the Ghana card. Yes, only the Ghana card.
You will not be able to make voice calls, use mobile money services, internet, and all other services linked to your SIM card if you don't.
To register, dial *404# and follow the prompts. You will be required to send the following details on your Ghana card: Ghana card number, surname, first name, date of birth, and sex.
You will then receive a special code which you will present to your nearest service provider agent or customer care center for your biometric details to be captured. Remember to add your digital address.
Dial *404# on your phone to start registering your SIM card today.
For more information, contact your service provider on 100 or the National Communications Authority on toll-free number 0800 110622. Register your SIM card to stay connected.
Hey! Eja PayRegH for Abama and showing some ye dewa. PayRegH adaromanti, if ye be a monyan enti sawyang crankre, a jumaku, in swan sorry, namope and should did you may be a dear. Make out for PayRegH diamao, ani PayRegH, wama quadari our boho drilling, water supply, water purification, any bibiada efa insure. Netie, PayRegH in Kwane boho drilling company, wotu so mawa, was sansupa e brano, eba besha sending sonity, and sayo, woman sansu de shishasun kokra, a guponoswa, ye de babe bohu amosika sem piano akoye. Hey, won't pay way now per day. With them, call them now. Flying, I was 0240 217253 0240 217253. PayRegH, since so young quadia, any ye maunkwa.
Welcome back to Active Morning right here on Active TV. The show is powered by myactiveonline.com, myactiveonline.com, and we're also streaming live on Facebook at Active TVGH, at Active TVGH. You can also watch us live on YouTube, also on Active TVGH. Now I've been joined by Fabia and Clement. You can also join the discussion on via our WhatsApp line 0503 236 735 0503 236 735. Michicha mu michicha. Na any weekend do.
Any bujai.
Any bujai. Na mo what to say? After me Fabia ojin chane so pan. Senya makoye man sadia. Na ndane dai. Pasho, I asked me Jaika.
Well, Ubi German, yeah.
No, I
don't order car, mamma, and they could see me.
Oh, send the video to me. See,
yes, I would have you to Ravagina.
Ravagina.
Only original walk of
for that, actually, today, actually, was social media.
They have to say you tag and I strike no much, and then they, and I just think of also a casabi tree. But as a Professor Jampoe Kani, or say no politician can call it off, only members. Because who be on Twitter now comment on there was saying almost say or casa too much. Into only a casa nas or no company about wanting casa. The young kind story in Mukaka. As Secretary to the University of Ghana, chapter of the University Teachers Association of Ghana, Professor Ranto Jampo says it is out of place for any politician to claim that it has called off the group's ongoing strike. According to him, lecturers will not bow to pressure from any cutters to do so until they feel their demands are met. This follows a meeting between UTAG leadership, the Fair Wages, Minister for Education, Minister for Employment and Labour Relations, and the Parliamentary Committee on Education on Thursday, that was yesterday. According to ranking member on the Education Committee in Parliament, Peter Nocho Kotoi, am I right?
Yes,
UTAG had agreed to end the industrial action during the meeting, which lasted hours. So, let me jump to this. The legislator noted that the committee is hopeful that university lecturers will return to lecture halls by Monday, February 21st, which is Wanda Air Bay. But Professor Ransford Jampo insists that that can't be the case. Taken to his Facebook page, the Legon UTAG secretary wrote that no politician can call off the UTAG strike. He further wrote that no sponsored propagandist media reportage can pressurize anyone. Only members can resist their decision after they are convinced. If they do, they will communicate. The University of Professional Studies, Accra, chapter of the University Teachers Association of Ghana, has rescinded its decision to return to class on Monday, February 21st. According to the UPSA UTAG, by the fact that they are members of the national body, any decision taken by the National Executive Council of UTAG binds on lecturers in UPSA as well. This follows an earlier letter which had indicated that lecturers in the school were to resume active teaching on Monday. The court on Tuesday granted an interlocutory injunction against UTAG industrial action after an appeal by the National Labour Commission. Then also dragged UTAG to court after attempt to have UTAG call off its strike. UTAG has been on strike since January 10, 2022, over government's failure to review their conditions of service since 2017. Students continue to suffer the precautions as the lecturers have refused to back down on their demands, leading to the ongoing impasse.
Impasse, just say, so the person checking say UTAG quality of strike now answer them.
UTAG, I say, or quality of strike. But what Professor Jampo is saying is that politician be a me and catch someone call it off the strike.
That one they have a point. So they are returning to school on Monday, but 6 weeks into almost strike action, it's going to put a lot of pressure on the students. And yes, Rabbi say, whilst the lecturers have decided to go back to the classroom, Jumedibia is so dibia ebe more ayede atna and as atna school markers actually because the next time they go on a strike again, I don't think no one can come in again.
No, they're going back to the classroom. Are they going to offer the best of services?
Exactly.
Omoko on the note say Omo you willing to go back. And I say Omoko on the note say court no out there almost Omonko.
I think they didn't.
On say no and buy and say court no say Omonko. Now and no within the space of let's say 18 hours.
And Omo could share Parliament Select Committee on Education and almost sort out issue no MOMO.
But me na as I said, na make us say a bedroom latter part me say na omotimiji to easily na situation here resolve here. Then I don't know why they went on the strike. Almost said students and parents have paid fees, but maybe you drew na I feel that a some on ground so because young for doctors they are example. Doctors they by within 24 hours the problem was solved. I didn't know about
what the doctor they example in you. A minor man what say or no doctors teacher for. So and our bindings on the power to decide it was anonymity. What the doctors need to
President
Swaka we teaching you so be better doctor.
And no argument.
It's make us say some when enya fe ya ya we are chairman after this meeting na say you are going back to teach.
Yes, but me say once I see an I taking a stand, I say, one year doctors in a year, it means mono won't pay attention to man, as we pay less attention. It's now the cover. Say doctors for this time, you say one of our doctors was in the Abino text message, Abino will respond to them. What they say, that is where I make us say, who they compare in because clear the father of the nation, I mean, say, or no, doctors or value doctors, teacher for, I mean, say teacher for you, be what they compare in you get it. It's an entity and now the government itself doesn't recognize them as being important.
Okay, and I am Chinese echo demonstration say a bank car or deal mono on far momo. Now almost the petition echo ma Greater Regional Coordinator of NAPCO Alaji Papa na oni incentive for kan kasa no ka chwo mo say obi ka say NAPCO for saban de NAPCO for ka ene na busumuka na aban ende NAPCO for ka former
they think too shallowly. Because this is the case. Only Omoka, why would they do that? Clear, abandoned the Omoka about 4 months. What they are saying, even they going back to tell them say, Omun cancel or institution be an NAPCO for one year they didn't stop them from coming in. Now saying these issues, you know, Omudi can attend to Omu Sika they should have picked them off. Before some mobile and it is clear say abandoning the Omoka. So why then do you come to say abandoning the Omoka?
Anyway,
this ways are propaganda.
Labor Minister Swakasa, Labor Minister Kasa no say Omono as far as they are concerned, they've employed 30 NAPCO officials and NAPCO trainees Oma employed 38,000 of them. Omo Yejuma Sisi 38,000 NAPCO workers.
Omo issues no say clear because throughout you omo time no ba be ende no and aban no issue ba say omo be ye omo permanent NAPCO for permanent you get it was about just 2-3 months omo
no the thing was almost share NAPCO aseno the day it was launched no the president said it is to offer a training program for this unemployed youth by the time almost 3 years labor summer.
That is why I make
yes. By the time of 3 years labor summer, you integrate into every sector of the
so they had that promise. Yes. Omunya has that promise. But prior to set up neighbor so and a buy say omo ba be omo permanent.
No. The initial plan was we will make them permanent
after.
When omo time neighbor so.
It's almost that promise was there. Sure. And even time neighbor so what I'm saying time neighbor so they came out again say omo permanent. Which means that was the second time.
That was because of election time as I promised to buy. They made that promise in 2020.
So what are you insinuating?
But no, clearly NAPCO officials, NAPCO trainees were used because if Michelle Boss said, Mama NAPCO.
Now we are
Mesama Wejumaya. Would you vote for?
And I'm going to Philip Bosch time they send persona Sabos and San baby you have to remember them say yes of course
don't worry we
say first
no I'm not saying you are not right to what is that say you are not about what kind of what are you saying
say no the other one say oh there be a political talk
what the president said during the launch of the NAPCO Oshomo say permanent staff.
Sure. And at time the best one Sunday bad.
And one can say October. Say book us I mean on yazu. Ya no racking to 21 about one air banner.
And Sunday buy.
And Sunday buy
say omo permanent. So that assurance and they say almost say be permanent. Okay.
And I say in chief of we say baby I here to for no board oboho
baby out to for your no
oboho it's there here no so
Osabe hit you so they were rest assured say oh then omuwie they are not going back anyway then about 2-3 months to omo time no be expire now you see institution bia NAPCO for bia let them go
but why also see what you employ 30
labor minister we pekase bia say or say o ma employ 38,000
yeah they are not employment
NAPCO officials am I in kasa you find say o mo call you no o mo need employment na so no o ma ko street so ye hu asimesi we say NAPCO dey fan say 38,000 na minister na so ka no yen so yemo ko match wo street ni say 38,000 no ya form adwuma mu ana
amon fa prove mbra
say
aban adwuma de yen fa ya no na efa documentation
me say kai wo yen lan yomo app na omo so mo fa ko omo so mo fa plaque adena mo say na kwa jini no
yeah that must you
na kwa jini simple as that because
kontompo nsem
meanwhile this NABCO trainees are also complaining say employment and by modi omoka I think this government say well no matter what you are leaving office it
is good say media no and can yes and can maybe governments e dey citizens be fast on now ade bi a obe bia through the media it will come out whether it is true or not what do you say Oni na yen kontompo sem na nambra ba sem na da sem se hunu ahunya e na mo keka nipa 30,000 where are
they Ajax see the you so kontompo nambra
na ye ndo bia wo show no so no if it's time I start show no ye ma ahwefo update on e-levy na e-levy no deputy finance minister akasa na osanye MP Emma etiwa na wakasa na asema wakane say osi e-levy no Ghana for say omo pepa na good or say Ghana for onu nhwemo wai no Ghana for so mo pe e-levy no Ghana uti ya pe e-levy me pe e-levy cheche mo pe e-levy ya wo ayi na say Ghana for ye see pe e-levy no na dia ye hia en say o mebu akonta papa amaye enti mpese ekotie minister asemo kan say Ghana for epe e-levy say producer video na ready ma bomaye okay producer say video na ready enti yenko hwe minister nsema okan
process that we are going through, and we are optimistic that once we go through the process it will be approved, and as it is when it is approved we will all benefit from the taxes that will be raised from that, because remember we said we're going to use part of it to enhance the youth start program to build the capacity of our youth, and also we are also going to use some to reduce our elevated debt levels which came about as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic and the measures that we had to take. And then finally we are also going to use some to build on our infrastructure, especially the roads. So let us look forward to, let us have a positive attitude towards that it is something that is coming in to help bridge the gap. And for me, what I hear Ghanaians say about the e-levy is that, yes, we want to embrace it, we want it, it is good, but we want to see more accountability in that field. That the monies that you raise, let us see, one, show us how much came in, and then also tell us what you utilize the revenues that came in.
Okay, inti minister no asema okay Clement
oba fe eni monyam fusi wa di ugina hogu ho ni ma se yema
oh asa o chese Ghana for ni e-levy ho
she eyi o make ye middle of the line no asema o kan say say COVID issues we crown. Why do we go back to COVID again?
But and that Ivan, just the any boy hano. Skama ye say abai enya no. Just na ye bo
where the surfaces.
Na ye boss in that share
or ade bebre.
Just and boy and
so
luckily for me na me work class na me search and Charlie it was true.
So how can just 6.9 million Ghana cedis be yes ejuma we amount? Billion cedis be ejuma.
No, 6.9 million Ghana cedis.
It is nowhere near for a 435.
6.9 billion and a billion Ghana cedis no. Ye dimu ba
dimu 2 point. Ye dimu ba ko ya chem 3 dimu ba.
Dimu ba ko ya we
unnecessary.
And my sister, me pick information say I think it's a Monday or a Tuesday. I can't confirm the day, but my sister vice president a year public lecture on the economy physicians and surgeons North Ridge now, and also you can just imagine
sky it will come out.
You know, if says Kaweka or more can say say in a month you need 6.9 billion at least anka ye beti asempo kakra say afini be kwa wiye na edoso nti say ebi free mu ebi fa kwan bi
afini be kwa wiye still na anyusa
no wait
afini be kwa ategu yenya 435
o de ye fa no manyanya ne nto nchen
no to fa
say ye ka ile
no Fabia make that
if you let me land and come any budget for if
but person what say no
say bosume ba akora ye nya 6.9 billion na unim say at least a year no ebe so na say accumulate afini nyina boma scan eduka
ubenya 82
it is
it how many years and now ubenya 400
it is a bit to chan cry unim say kakra bi ebe kan o at least ye dey be big to na we dey also a few and now we nya 6.9 billion na afini ti e betra say akopim say afini be so ye nya 6.9 billion so dey aba be ye kuntu juma
Fabia ya mama for who
I'm giving people hope. I'm saying that no.
6.9 about every month to say your work now. 1 year ni 82.
82 that says 6.9.
6.9 about
6.9 billion.
Ah, ubenya 82.
It will multiply by 12 months.
Ubenya 82. 1 year as no work now.
82 billion.
82 2 years you say. 82 say 164. Ah. 4 years yes say maybe say me ya dey be for 82
you now hear money
82 no 1 year 82 2 years 164 into 4 years say
164 plus 164 remember
3 something 4 years
320
4 years World Bank might say 430 something into scan kra no ye no 1 year kra na 4 years ye nya sika World Bank dem aye no but can I World Bank?
World Bank by $430 million. Dollars. Okay.
4 years, yes, can World Bank de my 4 years, you know, 6.9 every month. You just say you cannot project in a
6.9. So 1 year no more project.
1 year.
You can say 6.9.
1 year. 1 month. But you World Bank for Sika. 4 years. It's World Bank for Sika. Now says can buy at a good as a scandal no more misuse scanning and then I just say a whole year 6 points.
I'm not understanding what I'm saying.
No.
You don't want to understand what I'm saying.
No, we don't want you to.
I'm not giving people hope.
You are definitely.
I'm not doing that.
I'm not to say I know. E-level was supposed to start 1st January. And
it's even 3 months.
And I said 3 months ago. Because you say I know.
It's free.
Almost
6.9 by 12. Never mind to be a scale be now with 11.
It says
I know the bar. So you started next month. I won't calculating March to March. And then say January I be trade.
Oh, say you can hear.
It is another point to say. It's a E-level scanner. One. So but as what?
How?
It's a projection. You know,
no, just say I'm passing January and I am passing
even if you're passing January.
No, he's saying that starting January.
But that's what they said when they went to Parliament.
But I'm passing, so I'm passing.
Okay.
But even if we are started with January, a projection.
Sure.
A projection.
Someone him say projection.
It's not me. Say 6.9 billion na yenya na fini. It can't do anything. But
which you don't want to do that.
If we are pinpointing the problems of what money man say
12.8 something like that. 12.8 million and no cry times 2 or 1 year.
MPP communicators omo argument omo here say scar mobile money and I say telcos ni no out of mobile money transaction no eno kwa ekọ aban telcos no aban ni bi. And that is what they are telling Ghanaians. And I'm telling them say it's a wrong information. A misinformation on what they ma Ghana for the point is what you say, but at the end of the day, no. AMU say KMU say MA for the baby take it amount. No much profit in it. The same thing MTN for so at the end of the month, you know, and I say whatever quarterly yearly whatever. I buy
scan bi
eti Mobile International we na yete say
eye free
yete say scan wo so no e bia me sene 100 cedis ama fa bia
okay, I think me tin ya what can I say? What they are trying to say is that nya yet e your phone this one.
What it is?
How to see this now buy any bi wo.
Ni de yet o de MTN ni na buy obi wo. Me ba o de e ba na MTN e na ye adwuma. MTN adwuma obeye no within the month nyina say eye mobile money obi na Sunday so obi na J say business no be bia abanje tax.
So what they are telling people you need to state it clear is that me I almost can say 2 cities now buy any bi.
Aban wo
2 cities aban two cedi na MTN for no boaboa no ene omo ne ma two cedi no aban die wo
okabo mu eti omo na ka cha omo sisi ane ze eti
e hwe so we nyina mu container ne saudi e free
na me so masa me die wo
na so saudi wo o ye ne audi wo
senso no necessary man ko mu se e ho no mo jifi. But what they are telling people, it's no mutrimu sisi a obi betima tena say adwen aka say o ene say aban ni bi ka ho a reasonable ne say san kete no mo tina aban ni bi wo. But they are saying that omo kan ni na bonu ya aban je ne.
They are just deceiving people. They are insulting people. Omo person omo say amanfo ni mu nyansa. So those are the loopholes omo person omo use am.
Na wa so aban ya wa beti bi no. O ka do ba ya o be je kese. But the other banner, I saw seeing their circles no edge.
Correct.
It is
over Belgium.
It's 11 a banner. Automatically, all send this car 100 Ghana cedis now. You better 3 cedis 84 pesos. That's the last calculation.
Yeah, we are in and out in the million. 100 Ghana cedis.
100 Ghana cedis now they go through no. I be do the final destination. Now I say 90 cedis and
because say yeah business. I mean, and the same to the way we are saying I chain. Enti ye business a me na makofa na ema no e wo Peter ho na ma ye no cashless system nti no na transaction na akoso na metua na me wie no fa bia so be fa bi o me ho as retailer e koton cashless system nti transaction na akoso wetua obi nso wie no cost to ageni wa ba be tobi no so a no so be koso no wetua nti wudi abra efiri phone so yate efiri phone so yate efiri me phone so yate efiri phone so yate enti eye smart ade na aban ne kana amanfo adwi nyanko so say initially omo ka say udi ka transaction no na eto ba akopa no they are all lies. People should just reason up amanfo mi omo adwin na omo nti ade na say ye because say scan ye send ma me amitie na fa bia o say won so me send wo de ma wa ye betime o ja say nipa na se Peter na send is scan ma me a ya ti Peter me so be go me phone so fa bia o de o ma me send ma wa ye betew say jenim de o na wo send ya ma na ye betie jenim uwie so na san kofa kan so a ya san kotete ya kwaje lorry fe bi because ya toto petrol enti saa de o mo ka say wo send ba akopa ya nti we o send ba akopa e smart way o mo pese o mo de e pesuadi amanfo de dada amanfo na amanfo adi o mo say oh ene se me nya send 100 cedis ni ya ti me 3 cedis na ya nti me bi by the time 3 cedis ni ba ko do ne final destination 100 cedis no e be ko do ne final destination no udi agura na aka 50 Ghana cedis e yem to sem. And we are not doing this to sabotage any government. We are doing this because at the end of the day, me so make your tax ni bi. At the end of the day, me so me send this can be. At the end of the day, me so be send this can be. Yeah, how many deals in a year? For transactions in a year. It's just send them o monte na. O monte ye kona o koye top up no na unkuta o fona o beti wo ho. What I say tie tua manfo ka o monte. Nipa ni so kofa na ema na say o tua ka wo ho so a ono so ye sen ete no. Enti se scan 100 cedis ayate ni na nketenkete e da so no. Wo wie no na nko e ko be 40 Ghana cedis. So clear Ghana folks should understand no mu say 11 no absolute nonsense. Ye momu.
Okay. Enti oh dear the ban we are here dear.
I'm talking about
yes, for your live our Facebook Active TV GH. Sounds near YouTube Active TV GH. Mr. Monfa mo comments na monfa mo nso mo adwentre emfa ho no say mo kan ko mo twetwe no hu bi enye ye nko ani betina ha se ni abeto ato asa.
Ba kwa aban school who do me to school fees or international school na betu metia. Obetu. Na o ba kwa aban school who to me. Or international school obetu.
You see, we here at Active, yes, yempe abaya. But the point is, say, you see, if COVID we scam kwa ya de brewo na scam busi wabo any money wa generating within the year no you are not able to tell us what you've used the money for. So see Parliament Select Committee on Health, no, the NDC spokesperson and I said ranking member on Health Committee or Parliament, Honorable Minta Kando, is calling on government to account for the COVID-19 monies. Almost to be about to be making further steps. The Speaker of Parliament is so every day say anytime he calls the Finance Ministry for documents relating to some transactions, Minister in person the beba.
I'm hot. We know.
Since I only okay self, don't make kind budget no. Don't make kind budget no. No ordinarily budgets reading start at 10. But that no, you come out to I think 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, and some year kind budget no.
Negotiations.
And so now, Speaker better for me what I say. You see, he has a long-standing problem with the Finance Minister. Now when you're and then what Parliament no, he needs to trash the issues out. Anything your chair sir, or feminist and so far the minister in person remember. Airtel to go transactional abanye minister Speaker of Parliament say only documents in relation to that transaction no, which except Parliament in who say transaction anymore, but transaction in Sikasem na except Parliament sir.
Sure.
They are keeping the public purse. Who transaction they don't know anything about it. Ajimamenu, Dr. Ajimamenu, Health Minister, Ononkwa Kwatana say, sign a contract on behalf of the Ghanaian people, and they in Drobiba Ghana. In Droa, say, Una, say, me to Edono Koto company director, 1 CD. Or the Kofa Obiso, and my Nipano to an enemy 5 CD.
Say, really now, open say, how weak this government is. Then, one person, it means direct way over the nation's purse. How? Process being, council being, and I say authority being, power baby no more, nipa bako, a whole nation's purse, utumina access any issue. Or they say into you.
You say that is the situation with a Ghana Airports Company Limited.
How?
Chairman Nankasa na koto
and then the bottom ska. So how does those things happen?
At the end of the day, no, Ekoba no see your money apamono.
Then as any money.
If I see you chairman muna chairman
and a group be na said man. A group be.
Well, I don't think anyone in his right thinking say me kota dey no factory no ho direct from the factory me na 1 cedi. You know. Na me dey akofa Fabia so say Fabia una akoto ade na beton ma me. Na Fabia so call say okay, ade na ton no 4 cedis it me ton ma 5 cedi. Me wale na ka wo pade no call company ni ho a we ya ni 1 cedi.
Procurement we say no. It is something ema o man hwe ase. When aban ye na say obi deal with let's say certain people ansana enema bi yensa kan a clear example na my ade na ton no hanum street 1 cedi but aban ye kromfo nti no me dey aba wo agye ni mu ho na wo agye bi 2 cedi no akokọ akoto ade na ba ntubo nsi ade of the day no na scan keten bi e wo se nka e wo ho no na indirectly omo di animu no dey fa baby then ebasa na the country is struggling. You get it? So these are a group of people they are a bunch of liars. And no one say ade bia ba they feel say oh we are kokra nothing will happen. But if a state where we believe say no, at times rule of law name run a work no enya adwuma regardless of who you are and can never be one man they will never happen because obia feel say this is my government, this is my president, so this is what I can do, nothing will happen. And obia yen is na kai whole nation's money. How come now amount for direct access to nation's money? Na sika to me fa baby wa bra yen to me account for it. How? They said the answer at the end they will be them and I will have an ordinance album. And it's close to council no. Before you use it, it has to pass through a process. When the process is being the firm call for being and almost signatures, a can who call for being a massa warrant, a massa go ahead and now scale to me cover individual and say to me account for it.
Okay, my family message ni bi wo What's up? I'll say good morning. You guys are brightening our morning with in-depth analysis on issues. I'm enjoying your show. Good work. Kudos to Too Sweet, Clement, and Apostle himself. Long live Active TV from Dominic Bachman, UK. International.
UK, the Apostle General and Governor, UK. Maybe I
say, hi, good morning, senior. I want to commend you for the good work you are doing for Mother Ghana. I have been your #1 fan, and that is Dominic J. Messages 0503 236 735 0503 236 735. Quick one. You stay with Parliament. MPs for your more majority side no aqua petition. A petition say a President most wunu wuye no. Me say me who story na.
And me who post no na no many community friendly story no crack. My main
story no na. Father, some of sorry I will wait to my car my
okay, yeah showed them say the two just say transport first near betum. But near me who has said so GPRT I can say they will increase the first effectively from February 26th. My main story in Mukaka. The Ghana Private Road Transport Union has announced that commuters should expect an increment in transport fares from Saturday, February 26th. Speaking in an interview, the union's public relations officer Imuru Abbas said they are currently engaging government on what percentage the upward adjustment should be. See, we have no choice because we initially asked for government to scrap some of the taxes, but they were not prepared to do that. So we have no option but to come out with an upward adjustment to lorry fares. He further noted that the leadership of the GPRTU will meet government again since disagreements over the percentage increment have resulted in most of their meetings ending inconclusively. We asked for 30% increment. Finally, we were down to 20%, but government stuck to 10%, of which we asked for more. Fortunately for us, there has been another upward adjustment of prices at the fuel pumps. So next week we are going back, and with what is happening now, when we go into the meeting, we'll get a good rate for our people, he noted. Meanwhile, the private commercial transport operators has declared that effective Friday, February 18th, transport fares will be increased by 30%, which is today. According to, yes. Private commercial transport operators for Nayaka, but GPRT will also say effective February 26th, almost any transport fares would be increased by 30%. According to the transport owners, the decision is to save transport businesses from collapsing given the frequent upward adjustment in fuel prices.
So how are we going to address this issue? If indeed say fuel prices are cost there, then you can't tell the person say who would it be how they be increasing first. You get it? Because fuel price na cost no nipa na kwa akota o discount bitu it won't mean charge old first and say no first can say ankoto fuel na amatum. You get it? So if indeed price na cost there, then definitely that very moment now fuel price be cost now there should be increment of first. And no there we totally agree with them, unless if you are ready say fuel prices slash there, then of course it will make sense. Other than that there, fuel price cost up, then first must also go up. How do you expect the drivers to buy the fuel and then?
Yeah, almost the Friday we no minya ya nkata eme wa ya fa asofo ebetimi afre ni ebisa. And ofa car is it the same? And I say you have to
anyway, but the
basic controversies.
The point they say, who say GPRT, has always, and it goes for government via arbitrary GPRT, is always acquire say or advocate for governments.
And say it should be say
because at the end of the day, he said election of
GPR private road. Now
I say almost election. I mean both parties, filing in their people.
Sure.
What I say, and it's more likely say, wow, party our power no. Unipa na ebe win.
But who say what's the deal we say?
It's a banner sapena asembana. It's against the government. I won't say that GPRTU play the devil's advocate. Why do?
But who say so? What's the deal we say? Who say most of the major entities never command be aban this current NPP bibi om no baby a almost support it. I don't know say be what studies are what they say because the way na entities need be function e wo Mahama time GPRT the way na function wo Mahama time is not the same way na function Christian Council said na function wo Mahama time the same way na function and then Council of State said na function wo Mahama time the same way na function those times ni na these entities they will boldly come out and say whatever they want to say, but now when they are coming out it's as if they are in support of whatever this NPP government is doing. So now I'm beginning to know say okay, so all these entities they support the government. That is why and then maybe because we Nkrumah air course. Other than that, if they are to speak against it, they said the Mahama time, the way a man food the Mahama time issue all sort of ways at the Mahama, and still the country was more or less quiet now. You compare to an administration. You should say Mahama time as I media no cranky close be 4,000 amanaka too. Oh, it's true. Bashing and air course will those days. And then they were not top personalities. Kasa, now it's not like that.
Now I'm up for
demonstration near when I say that time now people thought say that's uncle for NPP for. Which of course some of us we debunk that idea so many MP before because the ECOSON and they are fighting against it. But it looks as if say some now they are all quiet.
Okay. For the story to do
Oh, sorry now, Shan. I mean, Saka has said.
Okay, yeah.
I'm not done prayer. 3 others found motion for bipartisan investigation into Mills' death. 4 members of the majority in Parliament, led by Majority Chief Whip Frank Anodompe, have filed a private member's motion calling for a bipartisan investigation into the death of the late President John Evans Atta Mills. The group wants Parliament to constitute a committee to unravel the unending mystery surrounding the death of late President Mills, which sad event occurred on July 24th, 2012. Aside from the Nsawam Adwajiri MP, the remaining sponsors for the motion include Tolon MP, Habib Idrisu, Impraiso MP, Davis, Anta Opoku, and Tema Central MP, Yves Hansen Norty. The lawmakers would be required to provide the reasons for their motion when it is admitted by the Speaker and tabled for discussion. The late statesman passed away on July 24, 2012 after visiting the United States for medical checks. Although the cause of his death was never disclosed, he is reported to have been battling throat cancer. His brother, Dr. Cadman Mills, also said he died from massive hemorrhagic stroke resulting from a brain I read it, just a Dr. Fonny Bim aneurysm a brain aneurysm. The late statesman served as vice president of the former military ruler Jerry John Rawlings between 1997 and 2001.
See, let's call the spade a space. This thing they are calling for is useless. You could see say and Nyansa Gini another pray the constituency. Koshe Kwai, someone the Kwai Basawo. He has no sense to petition Parliament. So that when you are awarding any trust in some full when you in Kwasafo miensa or more Parliament miensa kan ho and o maka mu jimia bom so o mo be ya de we ni na tolon MP no tolon MP kan na na de mobo ko hwe the constituency another person sa wo ma o tumi sese sa wo nkwan just because a honor koye a stronghold for the MPP, and no matter who you present to the people there, they are going
but this time around, if we are to
we need to educate them.
That is why the education.
I'm not sure, say people.
Clearly, another page she was but people are
supposed to know information be all man. Na enkofo enya. Now people doesn't pay attention to some things, but then media no I say you be so well to the extent that at the end of you let the public understand. In the amount for adwin ba omo so tene maybe as I say sa na no obsolete atwam nsehunu to the sense of
I mean
me there the share aponche atade say
the probing into males death no e be reduce unemployment rates males death here mo kan wa say will it reduce our high standard of living condition problem on some person mu ye aso e dey improve to be wa ko mu ada problem person omu ye yen kwan a enye yen got person mu aye fi aye yi ball akra ye mu be ebi go no aso ebetuma solve ya na
we have a problem the way
this is it
yeah, no citizens na kasa we have a problem the way we vote people into power hey baby to say ahafu Kenya asisi she say ukokuru mu ono ma wan hwe kura hu wanim ehwo nyina ye mfuduro and it is because NPP NPP for stronghold and enipa na omuto abayi omuni nyina na NPP but omo ye nkofo a omo asa omo nya adwuma bia but citizens no free say once a NPP stronghold there o the bottle kura bi so na o the NPP flag above one they will vote for the bottle and at times we the citizens and we lack common sense and also can we keep pushing
but I'm not saying say we shouldn't call for probe but why are you calling for a probe at a time Ghanaians are complaining of high standard of living say nyama boy den yeah two fuel prices yeah fan say fuel price lorry fares yeah 26th February let's go with what GPRT is saying because they are the mother of all drivers union yeah but automatically things are going to go high
sure
you are not thinking about that you are not calling a probe into that Obi no how many years here
on a more serious
that's 2012 10
on a more serious
10 good years
on a more serious note MPD o medjuna dey awudwini
you've been in power since 2017 MP you didn't even call for that probe
MP medjuna dey awudwini mu fuel prices asema
then the spark is how issue we now
we don't know we problem
by the main point is and then MP then when your time abedwini fuel price mu abra ka na onu tim na awotwie no odu filling station one man where issue car then abonema into diesel na awodwene ho no ono ye na
no but that is absurd say obi even the family make say family out say the family of Professor Moss Eba out say they don't want omunia no anomoba no omode share no we ko
okodi
omesie no
bibia ko
ompe wetwi bia and we mean what people want to probe them
unless ebia more strong evidence be say
evidence that we say
then they come out
evidence they say afabi say President Mills stroke no kuno ebi nso say throat cancer
so in a no crowd doctors no test no say how
I think last
no but how does
headline be an say Dr. Bibeka say the result to the investigation somewhere I think autopsy or something it was stolen TV amber
the point is we don't need this unnecessary unnecessary
useless let us know which
this 4 MPC me ya kan paka pesa ka bi omanimi ya bi omanimi two screens na omo nkofo hu no mo hwe kwa some of mudi wo parliament another what are parliament because we faka na ko we in some wadoji ko he so wadoji
o ma say ho ball aso all because of
irresponsibility best 2 weeks 3 weeks na another problem ko ben we in some wadoji here no on see
all because of MP and the thinking ability as far as development is concerned shallow work form adwin work form as far as development is concerned nti nkuro no bebre aye basa
okay say ba ko bi o mo kra no o se be bufo kra wo say ade wiye David Sopoku answer ona say no ba parliament ona na
omo ankasa den na be ade up to omo life
ona na omo ye division na omo ye ye ba tu ile no mo say aseduketia te so nti this one so piasa na
ba onu say nkofo bi o mo wa ben ma they just do certain things na man for who so mo wa ben because omo wo ha they are valueless
but anyway na obeya ma ye hu say wo wa ben
wa ko no nya baby
omo ni anything sensible anything meaningful e dey omo be ba out so they waste time for such nonsense because they know say e ba abontin a Ghana for be so
say am person say na you discussing me dey from me na ebe from ni na
say ni na ye
na ne constituency tifia MP
say be na ye ebe na be popular but they shouldn't forget say we any popularity
MP David Sopoku Ansawe he didn't even know common sense didn't tell him say if you beat the public gallery it doesn't affect proceedings in parliament. He didn't even know.
We don't know them. Nobody knows them.
So our education is scrambling. Our economy is dying.
If not, we are and could be anymore. So at times, maybe we say almost said that yes, sir, so that at least their names will also be heard.
I mean, sometimes, check. Shall I 54 days in so Emma Bokobi.
4 days.
4 days. And upon way, I had to virtually go and line up. Now, like I mean, I said, Manana and Sonia and
people have to go and line up.
Yeah,
you can't say Uncle and I will be to because of who you
that is how OTTV so you do say we. Manana should be no okay say so una ya we TV so and the budget na no go come so me dey carry the coin na we so na car no above because ya fa ba bia ifutro wo ko fa Fabia road
yes say ya fa ba bia ifutro wo kan say say ya sheda ko
ifutro
na me man be man no e dey be e wo car no ho ma me as I mean one bucket of water to go take about now we anything
what I say we are fighting for the public order.
I mean you are not thinking about this.
There be a who here.
Obi a who here seen 10 years ago.
A who here because no car no the team no hono no kra na am no car in feel say bibi ho.
I know me say no dem put them MP so dey say 3 MPs no mo ka won dey say that name mo. I know dem premise for the constituency in some adweji. Oba man say won for face say na match concert o ye ho. If you do about also oba ko to ama no.
No say no so ni nipa ni problem.
But
and then Friday,
all the same,
Monday,
Friday.
Don't say Friday they happen say we relax kakra. But Monday, you remember?
And no crash them there.
The assembly says assembly job ma oye de, oye bende.
Bible no crash say, and really can be do work. Bible no also self control. Into the control
Bible now say he okwase anu ne nsemfu. Na wa nyansa for me so. Answer a fool according to his folly. Let he be wise in his own way.
I mean, so any part dream say na obeko ni nimu na.
Ya mo ko ti Bible na mo de kasa.
The kind na American.
Kore ni baba na mo ka me.
The kind na American way.
I mean, anopa.
Proverbs 26:5.
This one will be sorry more. If you no obedi anopa. Aye diamano. We are not thinking about that. We are not thinking about that. And this stupid thing on my own. You get foolish colleagues of ours, almost some comedian, and then they will promote it because of weekend we remember the coupon. You find foolish media practitioners.
It is better.
And some morning shows like they've called these people, and they are making unnecessary comments on these things.
Yes, we be kind of credit. We did atade ba, we be kind of credit. Sa kopim so be. Dan say we be change.
No, the ordinary Ghanaian is suffering. The ordinary Ghanaian is suffering.
People are suffering.
We can't even teachers. We training college. Otifle.
Watching you, so I would wish to talk to the camera, not to me, so that.
No, don't pray what I say. Don't pray is lacking sense. And me, I don't know why an MP, we chief, we also leadership of parliament. So you should know this. So we don't need this at this moment.
Onim. So I would now. Men can say he should know. He knows. But because of
some of the you don't have good school buildings there. You don't have good roads there. You don't have a good farmers are they find it difficult to even export or transport their goods to the market. As a sensible MP, you should be thinking of how to solve these problems. You should be thinking of how to use your connections to bring development to your constituency.
Most of them are conscience ni na ada.
They are genuinely active by too.
But at times very very heartbreaking. Say I'm not a farmer. I'm not a teacher. Neither am I a doctor or a nurse. but o share to be a ɔman because of poor bad governance yɛde ɔmo fema you could feel say it is very wrong na say ne nka me teacher for asem because make us wo emfa me ho kai betena da bia e be talk about press freedom and central for ye harass omo ye send omo text messages na ye keka nsem kire omo ye mo ye cheche omo ye mo producer kai be kan no
producer be project picture this is here e was screen so
ye that concentration but we don't talk about it
share picture we na she say don't we need more attention to that picture share picture no she be an collate esu ade and these 4 MPs only Nyansan can't tell me say they should rather probe into this issue.
If it is your constituency, baby, a
whole country like this. Yeah. This is I feel okay. It's 65. It's not about probe class and you can't mean Independence Day background. You don't have the zone to celebrate Independence Day. Shall be a polite. At this age, then you have foolish MPs. With a useless majority leader who doesn't know anything and we supporting them. When we have constituency for MPP constituency, MP constituency.
We MP you just don't have.
Then Kokuja to Ablakwa constituency. You see sometimes people think that we are fighting for NDC. Kokuja to Ablakwa constituency. Go and see what he's doing there. Ile is the same by ono promo ye MP a otumo call the constituency e from say asema ebenie say na me nto aba
go to the offices
and he said if my people are say I should come and vote for E-Levy I will come and vote for E-Levy
omo to me change your office set up in a piano and
looking at this now time I in your school buildings no were there it was good improving but it's
that is where the MP comes in. Who MP or a member of the assembly?
You get
the MP is a co-opted member of the assembly.
You get some stupid and senseless MP or the culture say.
Now,
city at Aroma, in Sakina Kankunya come back to Sokrapuna Yede.
Omunya, government school. You get some stupid and MPB only sense of a culture will say. Now, what's Charlie? I'm out for and then the person cooling down. And I know now, I say, you be doing like to baby near the Adi. At this modern world.
I'm actually not about 7. Run about here away. Chassis on where the whole and say you back and machina yen dado like I want to for most no matter
traffic
I also traffic
will be an traffic
and no one is thinking about it
overhead and I seek it to open
meanwhile MPs pass there president or no president say or back even for back kwasia o yusu ho o yusu asem obe yusu so njogu and most of them don't use a straw ho it only use for more use for njogu
na we use for more no kra na o mo ba cars ni be biem sei na o mo afa be biem
e na o mo car na e ya bo portals na
won sante into osima into no se car na o timu no
o be ya o fe o
use ya unya ben portal pe na say slow down
santo
e no crapo so crapo no
o santo
o te so wa
o santo petu
o no be
ebi kwa was sending tea or can a teen and driver ni driver into
that is from papa opa yen research missing MP drivers or drivers of more driving MPs omu nto maka yi opa let's go to parliament and try to speak to them they will tell you the truth
Ghana for so
they don't pay them well
the way now
and I make us say I say some make
the chronicle
I say NPP for 20 year trauma
that is
the sense as voters you know
go fiti kibi ebe nyina ye MPP stronghold we atimo that constituency eba eye ofansa yebi ebe nyina eho nyina MPP so fiti Odan Junction wo be fa Odan Senior High School nim akwa ofansa yebi o kwa men she white o kwa men she ese wo bobu oba so boduku
So my
brown
ne do offense we do more as we dey think kind na oba if you could do the trawa no tutu ntoma quiet gentle o come come abeka say oh sentina we for say the region or can say a region or fancy be a region because the point is say they don't do anything. They don't do anything.
Yeah, areas baby or what MPs were no me na useless no mu was a house.
Omi wa yes about papa say aka you can say you put no mu kra kwa answer.
MPs baby useless.
Probe say
omo ne nam bossa. Omo ni dwuma bia no mo kwa up and down wasting resources. E omo ne na mo na ona abu.
Ni ni ambro. Ni ambro ko ma pa. Just imagine. Just
MP nyese. No ma bonti. So ni na adwuma.
Omo ko campaign so mo sha boss mo ya kwan.
Omo ye campaign and they know so omo na wo so omo ye because me se me kwan enye wo me area enye me na me kwa aban ho. That useless MP ni no wo so kwa aban ho ko ka kire no. But on konko ka. What do you say? But obetuma ko fight for ex-gratia, obetuma ko fight for this cars akese. But ultimately go fight for the constituency.
We at the end of the 4 years no. Or abeje the ex-gratia because what can be say yen probi mills we into waye juma
na wan kankora
we say we mu
said na Clement guy no omo ye bibi
oh so parliament say Jimmy say na
parliament you have to do so at times people do things negatively so that the omo dey baba
common levy come to me pass it common levy
at times it's sanity
but my last story
are useless
and then na ye ka farm place at school no one
yeah.
Another headline about to say snake bites kill teachers in a farm place. Parents of surviving teachers are evacuating them from the area. The 2 teachers in a farm place in the eastern region of Ghana have died as a result of their inability to receive medical care in that part of the country after they suffered snake bites.
Said I try.
Me read this story new country because then I come once and yeah who building send an city.
Try.
I said no more.
They are not a boy. So
I don't want to say what we could teacher for.
Sir baby you had to Bruno almost say in school down.
Na baby had to Bruno say come change end.
Just who there meanwhile sika ya je sika ye nya erade
on to asase aban kra de o san wo cheap labor aban kra wo cheap labor on san to asase
wo dia ne se ko na ye pass asase school ama
it is obi a MP on and as obi a government official no sorry ano papa na udware no two perfume go no two V8 o ka na yere se wo kwen
o ko edwuma
nsam fun sei nyansa bia ni mo omo krasa omo kwen
o ko edwuma
edwuma bem
o ko parliament se wona
or kwa continent TV so akotena radio so akotwanto
we say nko for
years to
one mo call for promotion but we super we are not
to spray I'm telling you Ghana resources
I don't know why I'm MP for so many years they are all in some home they are why in some home we say in some kind more ya fix kakra here because and only a highway ya fast we go Kumasi I don't know there's a problem with that road
me hey there be am ka we baby who be out to aba na wo area ho he wo kwan ye ensu wo problem o light ensu so problem ne man ketenkete bi wo problem a wo MP we useless o ti ase wo useless ni so ni mfaso so wo ye MP na adwuma a wo te wo ye ne sese so obe so dey we still akotena parliament no akoye dey wo so mo problems no wo MP entumi and then MP kra so adwuma ba ko say anka government policies bia ke wo ma anka MPs no omo bodwa na omo kire omo nkofo no say these are the policies abai edeba uti bi we this do campaign time but e kan omo adwuma ho bi MP na adwuma say e kwan na e ho na enye no o de be kwa ban mu say me kwan me constituency wo me
oh no so omo be campaign omo kan ti
enye campaign dey e whereby they say the school ye be to aba ko ye campaign but e omo adwuma say policies bi abai ne be bia no anka omo be group omo constituencies no nanka omo educate omo on it policies aban e dey eba levy we eba we say what is MPB akọ the constituency assemble omo say this is what the government is MC papa yi omo adwuma etu we ya one pin oye useless o ja say oye useless e no fa ni botomi scan na be kwan no there be but obetwere gu paper so public ne concern na o de akwa ban mu say problem we eni nti aban me
do about what man policy be o
mo ja say we need lighter e was say one pin ko aban nti ambis we bro omusu ni mfaso edin ne da omusu as
honorable
but honorable no kra wo parliament o ti hon man ayo honorable upi abontin o de kokuma enu ayu akokuma enu e ya na e get it wrong
me mp otu kwabrochi ombae yes omba story nti
awoka so oba no medu ye
yes o medu ye nti sisi ana me nya
o de kokuma enu u do parliament honorable kokuma enu upi free ho no ma o de kokuma enu
anyway, yeah, had any training issues in ABC, but I mean, it's sad to say our MPs don't think about our development.
Most of them.
They think about unnecessary things.
So be any be
but what the answer to comments ever fire WhatsApp line so 0503 236 735 0503 236 735 quickly. And Lucho cancel Lucho say baha.
And then serious.
But Fabian, do you want to have only mother-in-law to be? How is your relationship?
Oh yeah, cool.
I know crack counting out to me and Jaya.
You know what? Just move to the next segment.
Okay.
But you move say Angagana and say Rubiano or any so Angaye.
Yeah, better.
So that all your hand now so all lack common sense no one develop wo de na no be developing there na nka man for us dey here we just and get and say you dey be ma a bunch of people omu nyina no they have nothing good to offer irresponsible people na omu di
but we say some for we who confess certificate omu kra PhD ni we are Ivan Becker say ukra PhD ukra
PhD
that will be values are you are just like a
idea teaching create common sense because you don't need
say be mu tua kwaje nti no be
idea teaching create common sense
you don't need certificate no kita na hu yan
you don't need PhD
on that note on that note
so you come close
I'm not close to that asema odi
my be certificate kita no na chenya say kra no certificate yetimi tuaje
ye kra system kra de
certificate no hu yan sa na obi akita
na say ye say you can say matter is anything that has weight and occupy space, what can it be? 10 marks are the amount. What does it mean? It is only a system.
I'm just imagining message I mean few will be what. Kind person.
Nanka president to one will be no be anti-chilling no crew. They said in Dubai and to me you then you know. And one thing to say every city bi a obeko okromo bi an region bi a obeko bi an omo resource every region think obi an fa ne de
oba ni doku region na obo say omo mo enam
omo wo ne man ko
which part of Ghana
and they do it think I ko the bruno for no one ma omo wo cash no to oba san de for mo good oko ebia Christian for no omo so good ne man ganis ne it think obi a de ne de kakra na wo no o de be chichi kuru.
Okay, on that note the segment up next is entertainment updates with Fabia and then make house say any Dr. Penny Exchange komo afa any mofra any how when their eyes are not good it affects their academic performance. You can join the discussion on 0503 236 735. We'll be back after this break.
All SIM cards in Ghana must be registered again with only the Ghana card. Yes, only the Ghana card.
You will not be able to make voice calls, use mobile money services, internet, and all other services linked to your SIM card if you don't.
To register, dial *404# and follow the prompts. You will be required to send the following details on your Ghana card. Ghana card number, surname, first name, date of birth, and sex.
You will then receive a special code which you will present to your nearest service provider agent or customer care center for your biometric details to be captured. Remember to add your digital address.
Dial *404# on your phone to start registering your SIM card today.
For more information, contact your service provider on 100 or the National Communications Authority on toll-free number 0800 110622. Register your SIM card to stay connected.
Active morning show this Active TV and somebody about say you can say announce what you say unya and tia say na eduru abato ofofo wetimi du kokomoti etim ya hwe ebeboa eso ya to aso dia na entertainment segment ni edu Mr. Omeka we say you were live your Facebook at Active TVG sounds near YouTube at Active TVG makeup kama Ruby's Elegance and a mama Ruby's Elegance mobile baby I will be ano obeba no aba social ma won so why come for any event or organize the number is 0205153430 0205153430 edru fiada say na me begina say na me be ma entertainment segment na na me boni tew esan say ebo enyime 8 p.m. on the dot ye the AE show no ebebe won say AE show to a power packed ye kasa de so ye power packed na just say and some kasa baby one kasa obete ahye ma me body tew na me the stories be me no bi enenam eye shatawale na ye hu say chese ofi abrantie bia no abrantie no ye kasa o ye se oka ni ko ni hu ebi chese the boys no ono so is part of them na we na nkofo akaka nsem bebe wase ede anie nsem ehu hia nyema ehu hia kwa na shata eye na we ehu hia kasa do betu so social media and na say question back we edu nkofo bisa ni say oye gay ana no oyi ano e won Facebook page ba ansa na yen kohwe video ni na ma asese a God bless you, man. Enti video no enna etwegu ya hu nsa ne wesi so ne ti asani atawa chene we share partner no wo chekere no bam na je se wo de share ne sani a wo pebia sa na shata eye na we no obi nso Twitter obi nko kan o sit footballers cry eye enti pictures be baby obi nso be posti wo ho de shata den kan say footballers o mo fefefe nkrofo ano e ho no obi nso reply on Twitter de o reply no obi a reply no obi nso a reply na je se ye koyin obi nso de ba say footballers no omo yesa eno no eye omo doctrines omo de anofie eye enchia but ye baga na ha say ya enka ye culture ho na say ye mfa nye isa nyema no omo de eye no na okọ on Facebook page asema okọcho ho ne say our bloodline case in Shatta movement is trending. Shatta Kumoji, welcome back home in peace and not in pieces like the wanted. Inti nipa na ofe na no na e de Shatta Kumoji. Asema all can say omo bloodline case no and no nti just all Shatta movement now they have a bloodline case. Now asema can say I case Guy Man, I case Latif, I case Large, I case 7 million, I case Ampalalu, I case Captain. In fact, that is why we are stronger in spirit than your entire generation. Nti we yankrofo bi a chese omo so omo ka Shatta movement nwa o cheche yemu se sankrofo we nyina na ya ade a ono de ofie omo nyina o ma no nti na omo spirit e wo Shatta movement no eso sin ya nimu bi ya generation aya no de me ma wonpo wonkasa ye ne na enya adwen ya to aso ne yenkwo hye eye ababawa Diamond eye Tracy Boache ene efia so asnega down for diamond ababa akoko bi na chese ko Instagram on so o trendy wo ho eye pa enche bia na despite edin the birthday na ni obae ebe ke kan sem bebre say if you the chair ne car no sem oto enyina wakeka ho nsem akama na we so de wasa ede ababe si eye Kensi 2020 so chese despite babema or worry eye Tracy no Kennedy any Tracy Kensi 2020 that was in the year 2020 omo worry omo di omo anniversary and chese omo akọ playground omo ni omo ntafwe playground dey no tie yi so no mu twa mo kama na asem obeka en say sa anniversary dey fokra too much low key too much ye ko have video number the video no and I who yen chese wo hwe nchoye na ya tro e dey time no say is this low key budget anniversary for me not just atwetwe and na otwetwe na me bisa say ade oni despite ebusua no omo wa asem bia na omo tia ne na so pay na isa say see dey ogino mo konso dodo say dem kan ye no eba Fridays a me megina yen kasa emre isa say edru 8 pm me de enyama bebre ne bebre mo meba be ma Friday no just say I relax stress no mema we release egu so I'm ever ready to take your stress entino aha na me de entertainment segment e active morning show ebesi me din e de mami Abna Fabia Kente ko so join here e Facebook at Active TVG sounds na YouTube Active TVG whether Ruby's elegance so as say o say menim kama the number is 0205153430 0205153430 we see for me na Active Bite Clement Ano e de Ebro enti ko bebe
Emma akwa baby emfa jumedi ne so na me da maame Abna Fabia Akenten ase say ode entertainment news update no etumi ebre ye the Active Bite the editorial version on Active Morning on Active TV and I made it to also na ensem no ene ye bi twa ne tew esanse say the Fabia kan no edu Friday ye boja ye freaky funky fantastic fabulous Friday ye bibia kama na ye de ekoye nim timi show WhatsApp and no text messages no say the dane dey na we dey eba no and so Fabra ne kan emfa ema 0503236735 0503236735 what the buy beje bre ne akenkan e di amount so also and I will join in Facebook no na family no etumi grow the family of positivity yin na grow together e wo at Active TV GH at Active TV GH and also call like page no o like we ya make sure say we do comment beto bibia wo bia de to a ye be kenkan e di amount na eno echi no wa make sure say wa share na obi so enya bia hwe YouTube and so Active TV GH Active TV GH and also call the can subscribe na notification bell no fato all say the be a day in and day out bibia no nsa e be to me aka uwia fa comment eto ho menya ho enko san share na obi nso enya bi na ni na no yemfa enko yenim Twitter nso so at Active TV GH ani Facebook ni na pe na Active TV official and so Instagram www.myactiveonline.com want so any news portal na okohwa it's a news bi a ope bibia obetumi anya bi ahwe na ne ma akoso ne edika ka cho se ene Reverend Lutrot Council Lutrot na yene no ebetwetwe nkomo ewufia hanum se ene ampaya ebidwa by times no na yes hit hard ewo niema bi so a enye se bia didi atem because me want to be send a message say if you use the word useless you are insulting somebody me gina we na Barcelona e bobo now the me ko gina midfield one say me ko bobo ni bia I'll be useless on the pitch esan say me so nim fast obi a o park ne so sa anso na wo MP ana obi a wo we bia na adwuma wo so wo ye no onye no ono so oye useless nti wo kura na wo hwe me say wo adwuma bim na botaya na say adwuma wo say wo ye no say wo nye ya that particular point no you useless or you name fast or enti nyeni na no ene atem didie quickly ene ye hwe enema obstacles of Ghana's growth on say bibia be koso a ye wo steps anase ye wo nema ye ya ebe ma ade na koso ene bibia nso ankoso a ye wo ade a oya ema de ne nkoso na se ne ma bi won ma oya etwe onkan ko esan enti nipa kura otuwe wo de wa nkasa wo life here example a enema bi won ma oya ya some time ago I said bi hu se yenkwase asem saa ne ma no ama wa obra ankoso ene wo ne ma bi nso won ma still na wo san ye ya etwe wo bra no eba akiri the same thing as a country ye wone ma bi won ma ema ye growth eye retard ema ye ntumi enkoso etwe ye kura akọ akiri ye ya yentumi nkọ ye nim ba bia ye won nso anka betuma akọ aka ho nso yentumi nka wona etwe ye nkọ akiri o de ase enti saa ena ade no etie ye wone ma bia wo ya ema wo konkan ena ne ma bia wo ya etwe nkọ akiri anase ema wo ne ma eye basa ye nkuro mo hanum sei woni me be ya adwen say where Ghana has gotten to now enema bebre ena efeli enema bebre ena essay in the sense that ena ubowura market crab women are crying uko car mu so people are just fighting with meat and drivers because omuntu mi ntu omosika sisi enema ekoso okromu a look at our education system now enema bebre na aye basa because we have a bunch of useless people here what they are supposed to do to make sure the country develops no omo enye ye won kofu hunu bi ho no mu ko bi ho no ma omo ye nkofu hunu adwuma wo so omo ye ma chronicles no omo enye and that is making Ghana see ye bekoye nimpa de etwen edisan and ade no has to do with corruption and inefficient government enema no do so but ade play major role ewom a corruption and inefficient government keta asese ne proye basa any abanya na dwuma e wo se wo ye no onim na sede enso so ontumi enye. That is what we call inefficient government. Because when the government is efficient, obe make sure say the people will enjoy the best of life. When government is efficient, obe make sure say ekwanya man for faso di do omuduma no obe nie. When government is efficient, obe make sure say on fat tax and share kon. When government is efficient, obe make sure say day in and day out wasitinem enema e koso. When government is efficient, anka schools where in schools will be any the nature of some of our school children. If the government is efficient and kanema we na enkoso. So corruption and inefficient governance it me ema kurobo, and to me that is what has led to Ghana now. And no na Ghana say see I baby no corruption and inefficient governance on the part of this NPP administration. And nothing na Ghana enkoso no. You can take it or leave it, but that is the simple truth. Now the use of powers by government officials or their network contacts for illegitimate private gain. Eno ena ema aban no eye inefficient. Abra government officials anase nkonfo a omo wo aban mu no. Eniema e wo so omo ye no omo nye. Na mom omo ye nkonfo ade e be boa omo nko a ena omo ye. Their illegitimate private gains. Eniema ensemhunu ni niema ensem fata eniema omo se ebeboa omo no eno ena omo ye no. That is what makes the government corrupt. That is what makes the government inefficient. Enti yenhwe the way yisu sika okromu a sika ba fa o constituency wo mpesu aso no no fire example. What is your MP doing? Ya kan ho asema no pay aban na oteso ni sika ba ekwan be na aban no fa so a wo issue sika no. But when you don't use money wisely, said there was a woody sika and when you use sika na fanya, you become corrupt. And yes, over that will be a quadri sika and I said and unkwana a chesa we are corrupt too. Yes, see young fancy can see school there. Next cannibal no fancy school there near whose can so far so misuse sika you are corrupt. So when saka sika now to whom much is given. Say sika nanado danko akufuado and then current MPP in Saka. Now still now that's what problems be e wo kromo anu say wa bra yen try say you be solve half and I say even 1/4 of it. It makes the government very corrupt. And you could see say MPs most of them now omoduma mo including all government officials omoduma mo ye nyina no illegitimate private gains. Enti obi be ye MP na make a say within the shortest possible time no wa be ye order MP parliament one enye gold mines o there be but obi gbowura parliament within the next 2 years obeye order personal gains MP Kofia sikasa na ye de ma no ex-graduate sika sɛ ne yɛde ma wɔn sitting allowances sika sɛ ne yɛmfa ma wɔn teacher ni ekofie a sɛ ne yɛde ma no doctor ekofie a sɛ ne yɛde ma no police ni soldier ni ekofie a sɛ ɛna yɛde ɛma wɔn illegitimate private gains ɛna political leaders no ɔmo ɛyɛ that is why our country no yɛkɔ yɛkyi saa and then also ɔnɛmɛ no ma ɛno ɛna cause corruption no it doesn't just come and say wɔ hɔ ana corruption naba in as much as ɔmo ɛyɛ pɛsɛmi nkumiyafoɔ no one good greed of money ɛka ho bi greed of money it has to do with pɛsɛmi nkumiya na yɛfum sika saa sika biara ba MPs bi pɛsɛ ɔmo di sika ni bi sika biara ba ni a misuse no and then yɛnyɛ accounts biara and we are in this country say contract ni yɛde bɛma obi a nipa wo so be supervise o say MP bi na be win contract adeɛ na wo so yɛ no ni nya ni ambisu kame say sika bi na ko bia ade so obi sana ni na corruption and then also higher level of market and political monopolization. That is exactly what is going on here. Ubo wura mu ho no ma ade e wo se wo to no 1 cedi wo to ne sen enyama boy e di wo dwomu ha asa manakwa ba be see political monopolization in the sense that aban ne te so aban ne kasa on pese obi be ka bi meanwhile ye wo democratic state aban ne wo e pese waye ne ho pese mi nkunya waye ne ho nya atwom waye ne ho te se on na wo power ena te oka obi entumi nka bi o try say o be kan aban asem o try say o be criticize aban then you will be harassed, then you will be chased, then you will be getting text messages, you will be getting calls, you will be getting voice messages. Aban no yes system no monopoly say oka obi enka bi, but this is a state you practicing democracy. Why then government try say obey monopoly? Why then government trying to be monopolized? Identia monopolization on the part of the government, it is what is collapsing the country. Your democracy dia anka ye kabia aban ni betie your democracy dia anka teacher for kasa ye mpamu omo ye nka nche omo se untumi nchira dia akofie your democracy dia na nka ade eba na ensentweni kwche na adwena ye ntumi nkotata no your democracy dia anka obi ntumi nka na adwen ene ye nkotata ni say hey asem na wo kan say ni say meanwhile the very same thing now obi be kan na ye pese ye de ne formula kwan so no that very same thing you get a useless MP to say yenya no hwe because obi be twitu enko ba bia obi be twitu ye be china kwhyem. That is the monopoly aspect we are talking about. It is aban ye no say ono nko na e power ono na wotumi over everybody it is the ono nko ape na obeye dia then that is what will lead to the collapsement of the country. Krone be hwe say tam na ye nyina yetia but we won't sit and watch it happen. If you are useless, you are useless. If you are stupid, you are stupid. If you lack sense, you lack sense. Maybe if I'm useless, I'm useless. So I'm stupid, so I'm stupid. You get it? Now, low levels of democracy. You get it? Low level of democracy. Your democracy are you practicing it, say? Because of political monopolization, your democracy now be at the lowest level, whereby turning into even autocratic democracy, where we can be in Kabi. What kind of democracy are we practicing? Democracy where when the citizens are being affected, they don't have mouth to talk. Democracy where people are suffering in decision making. We don't listen to them. We don't allow them to talk. Na se meme bra, na se ye mame men kasa. Na obi na ti wono na obe decide amame a nipa no wo hu mebre. Democracy where teacher for grievances or more voice out in no you don't want to take it serious. Where we police in na kasa one we ya ebe pam. Where we century na kasa ebe tata. Where we teacher ni na ko kasa ebe pam. Is that the democracy? Ya but low to the extent say the democracy in Ghana is fading away, but we are not aware. Because if indeed democracy no are, then government will understand. Say democracy no ye kabi, na me so mean kabi. Think obemo man for na kasa. And in a democratic state, the government will always listen to his people. But what happens in Ghana? ye sufre na yesu ni na useless to the government or abiding for obia. That is why boldly man penny beba be kan tell say ye complaints na no unnecessary. Ade ehun here bia useless. And then also weak civil participation and low political transparency. Yet diploma ye can civil servants kasa and asset memufo kasa abane mo nka bi. Ye head area yen government system shit yen democracy system be transparent. No, because if we are transparent anka sika bi e for aban bia anka aban ne mo obaye bia no anka they will communicate to the people so that we will understand, then you will know say yes indeed anyama na ekoso no they are being fair to us, anyama na ekoso we understand transparency and then the people understand. But this is the situation whereby anyama ekoso the citizen doesn't understand. This is the situation whereby sika yen now for the past 5 years now you making accounts. Where lies the transparency? Anything transparent to citizens. Why must it be so? Why must it be so? And then also higher levels of bureaucracy and inefficient administrative structures. Inefficient administrative structures. Enti yɛhwɛ government institutions, government department, and I say omo hyehyɛ shaban ase nyinaa. Let's see how they are administering omo dwuma omo yɛ. Oko Ministry of Information omo di information ba won te ase. Oko education sector ne so omo yɛ no, it doesn't help the education sector. Ohwɛ kwan a yɛfa so a yɛfɛ nipa wɔ adwuma mu so a it doesn't help. First why first there for any police for amount for quantity form ko waste time say ani e bubi ni e didi bia tem ni e shout bi at the end of the day ni so a nipa ni bebre nya adwuma na nye. Where lies the transparency? Administrative justice, where is it? But one number way now it has some effects. Effect be this is it. Corruption may facilitate criminal enterprise such as drug trafficking. Come to be a really the say corrupt biano. Drug and child trafficking that is why Ghana obeti yesi obi try say okowia obi ba. Obeti yesi obi try say odi nuboni etu kwaya me ache no. Obeti yesi obi try say oye say because of corruption our society now be hard to the extent that people are finding ways and means to survive. That is what corruption can do. When there's no transparency, that is what happens. When there's no proper communication, that is what happens. And also, money laundering and human trafficking, though it is not restricted to these activities alone. Yes, activities will be all, but if you look at these things going on now, how we use our money, you use sika for our personal gains. You use or money sika wabra. You make accounts to be answered or mine. That is why when you go to Parliament, we are now asking for budget from Kenoforiata, the finance minister. It is not coming out. I didn't near me sika say me go to Mkrano. Me use me account for it. How much more the nation's money and I hear issue and nobody sensible right enough say obey my account for our monies. Meanwhile, misika can be the ocean means sika can be. Why must this happen in a democratic state where there's no fairness, where law favors some people, it doesn't favor some people, where people feel that they have power over the constitution, where people feel that they have more power even over those with powers, where people feel that once ukonya a certain department to be sure, then you become powerful to the extent that nothing can harm you. Meanwhile, we're a democratic state. Why must those things happen? It threatens sustainable economic development. Any country are corruption, the country will never develop. So if we don't transparency, Ghana will continue to suffer because corruption and the basa corruption and when there's no transparency, people abuse those power. That is why a do baby a civil war, sorry war, other countries, other African countries, the country had to collapse. Corruption If you don't pay attention to the word corruption in this country, I'm telling you, Ghana will collapse. And then also, ethical values and justice. It destabilizes our society and endangers the rule of law. When there is injustice in any country, a sign of danger. And injustice in any say any kromwa edi nkaya abana say boni panka say ehu edi bibi kese bi ebe hete o man no because pepe ye ni ho because you will kromwa no hear people complaining say mas obi tumi to asase no ato am obi at the end of the day the owo sika no no oji obi ajapade at the end of the day obi e wo se mra favor no because ebi anipa ni ni sika na mra ni ditia no at the end of the day injustice any wo kromu ha where your loss no in favor of one in favor of injustice. And then poor building quality and layers of additional cost at all consequences of corruption. Factors causing inefficiencies. One, reduced capacity and efficiency drives leading to reduced quality. Sectors are how your education sector, we need more teachers. Your health sector, we need more teachers. But the system so sweet, the system so beneficial, the system so attractive, the system so interesting to the extent that and can go for we are not putting those measures in place. It requires lacking teachers, but we have teachers at home because improper measures. We don't have any good measures. Say teachers for no move you know you better want to maybe not teachers now yes are lacking your mobile shame. So we have plenty teachers at home, but we lack teachers. Why Argentina and so we have plenty teachers at home, but we lack teachers. And then also over promising and under delivering. Hey, ya kasabe she share unnecessary unnecessary promises will on this part on the part of this NPP government. If in 2016 but NPP was share bossa be seen where are they? Are they delivering those promises? No, banisana mokro enkoso retarding the development of the country over promising and delivering. Ya kasabe bre se share bossa hunu but adwumani ye ketewa bi kro enkoso. So we should rise up, the youth of this country. Let's fight our present rule. And then last thing has to do with skills shortage. I cry vocational schools, no entrepreneur, we are not making any good use of it. So where are the people going to get their skills to do near my also? We lack all those things, but the youth will arise one day. Said we have to arise to fight any oppressor, and we will surely do that. All right. Yeah, the basic anum say, and there was big discussion. I Councillor Lutrot now before near die on by on communicate to a your best ID or messages WhatsApp and text 0503 2635 by Becking Kind at Active TV GH Facebook Active TV GH and so YouTube now me ko idea na say mame enchia kaswafo nyina kai mebre ama wo kaswa kai mebre dodo na nimse Florita one adofo ni nyina Mevi Susanna Priscilla and omoma kanina Evelyn and so kan wano ye chiamu nyina wo kaswa kai mebre nyame ehyiamu nyina frame Ano Clement the youth advocate. We say the truth will always defeat lies. And wa won pagana ye bia nyamintua oka obnyamintua obiaka said the neduma esi etie medu ebesi anum sei na madam me homeba. The show continues. Thanks for watching.
All SIM cards in Ghana must be registered again with only the Ghana card. Yes, only the Ghana card.
You will not be able to make voice calls, use mobile money services, internet, and all other services linked to your SIM card if you don't.
To register, dial *404# and follow the prompts. You will be required to send the following details on your Ghana card number, surname, first name, date of birth, and sex.
You will then receive a special code which you will present to your nearest service provider agent or customer care center for your biometric details to be captured. Remember to add your digital address.
Dial *404# on your phone to start registering your SIM card today.
For more information, contact your service provider on 100 or the National Communications Authority on toll-free number 0800 110622. Register your SIM card to stay connected.
Hey! Eja PayRegH for Abama and show sama ye dewa. PayRegH adaromanti efie bie mo nyansuo enti sawo yan krankre adwuma ku nso no sori na mo pe nso de dwuma bia de make for PayRegH de amao ani PayRegH wo makwadare e wo boho drilling mu water supply water purification any bibia da efa nsuo ho na tie PayRegH nko ani boho drilling company wo tu nsuo ma wa wo sanso pa ebrano eba be hwese ni nsuo ne tie ensan yo wo mo sanso de hyehyɛ so kokura agupono so a yede ba be bowo ama osika semtua no akoyie won pe we now pedeng with them call them now flying I was 0240 217253 0240 217253 PayRegH senso yankwa de a ene ye ma wonkwa.
Ebeda Fabia Ase, any Clement Society, some of the entertainment, any active bites, a brain, maybe you do know you're having a big discussion, or and you can join the discussion on 0503-236-735, 0503-236-735. Ube to me so follow you on Facebook, na washe wo Active TVGH on Facebook, Active TVGH on Facebook. We are also on YouTube, Active TVGH. Then I hear teaching and I hear train come on afa hono. Obunya to this children's vision and the academic performance. Children's vision and the academic performance. Emo frano omani any plan e betumi abo ho ban na omo school come no so no ebeko ye amomo because enini ye bibia ema nipedua no enti say enini to touch mape emo touch mape na je say honam nyina na ho aye deben atoche ma no nti ye twetwe ehon komo na Dr. Penny Buni beka so oye optometrist ye ka so bi optometrist a che say oye doctor ono de eni ho adwuma nko ana oye eni bibia efa eni ho adwuma nyina na oye na your friend of Samuel Fifi Ahun Fifi Ahun Fantini Abrante doc no akwa
Pacha me joso
Pacha Philip Whitman Fantifo they say moka we na Fantina ya mo de chini ni brofo ne Franti
Angel Pacha men them
okay so yemko straight abofana ya wona obawiase no embra onyi no the first early ages age no what should parents do to keep the eye safe?
Okay medical ada obi a say there one man akwanya dey ambeka asame fa eye no ho na dey nwa no ho me pese ma etifo ina so akwaba me chia obi a so ne di kan no say ye ka say ye hwe akrania ya na ye nsem bebrain the reason why ye nsem bebrain is say akrase na beti akrase e din pa so akrani isu a unhwe den hu at the potty hano. Unlike penny move to make a chance so many niki coming. And I'm in a meeting case as a baby that's all. Obetum saka de be an rano like Oshishin. But afabano into me who at the potty oyen. On to norma afabano and I'm a fra one eye care no oyeden. Back to your question, how do we take care of the eyes of children? No? I think that it's very important there. You don't take chances. And I may far a friend to chacha. Who then or some actions be able to make sure there. The best never end there. You just call a doctor to attend to the child. But before you do that, there's certain things I will find another will be all sharp or for instance, afabane hygiene depends on the parent. So as a parent, you must be neat. Like you must be extremely neat. Only there you basa now there be when you're attending to the clam, the child, you must be neat. And I know there show it says you making sure that you don't have any dirt on even the Afrobano name baby obeda. You must make sure the bed sheet is clean. The pillowcase is clean. After you can wash your company are very clean because that can cause an eye infection. Yes.
Okay. Now, what are some? Okay, we say my who parents na say or running sa or no akasa baby akra no be dan we na wo clean. But the question is, what are the signs that as a parent you should see? And the baby who say abofra no and I say baby ha.
Okay, so the actual thing is symptoms. Science today, doctors know and other the health specialists will see the signs. But then the symptoms is what you feel as a patient. And you know, say a parent who be about the one, Ninuano, I am not a DB future Ninuanase. A blue friend in Yasin and Asin in Yasin pain. Okay, yes. So when you see that, you should know that there's an infection. Sometimes to even when I read and a wire cocoa, that could also make you think that there's an infection. And then most cases, often, or the honema bone could be normal, but sometimes even there you're too frequent, or they are prompt, or they know there's something wrong with the child.
Tamani ye posai ni ana ye posai ni kakra na e bia woni ni keka na ye say okay ye de enchine egunsum na ye de gu woni ni so no. Is it safe for children?
Let me be very blunt, and I'm in pain. Or a very cruel practice, and very bad to be doing something like that to anybody at all. Yes, the idea behind it could make sense. On the larger scale there, salty water can act as a disinfectant. However, in fact disinfectant in or and a human body do. You don't do that. If you want to disinfect, you can do that. But then if you want to cure, you need a medication. They are only mean other cells. Because you get them now, you are not just killing the bacterial infection or any other infection. Cells is sabi. And as I always say, cells need to be in so it's not advisable to do salty water. If you can put in the food so that is also a very bad practice because we don't know how our keep would not for and our nipples whether it is clean or it's not clean. It's also need how a crime in fact would you go a baby how many days and I bury then. So, would you go soon as it takes some time, it can get contaminated on a child's eye and it can even lead to other infections. So, it's not advisable to be doing something, those things. It's not right, or not right.
Okay. Now, your movie fee parents care, no? Sisiano abofran wabeni yadina koshi school mo. What happens there when it comes to the eye, no? What should the child watch out for? And even people, it still come back to the parents. According to school bar. What should you be looking out for? Say there need no problem be anyone now. Okay, so
school and the house are two different things. What I do basically with school, our parents have no idea unless you're told by a teacher. But in the house, I can tell you certain things that you can actually notice in the house. One, if you want to know the after school no rekono or shade in one day and any running how na be from the homework and the notes. So more the homework no unto me intro homework ni or try na like words no on very to me the was skip some words. Also they will say to me the words and all try be a slant be could day be bad on to my impression that after no on very good. Sometimes to me don't bow to me catch all day. Me wo class I mean shading huni papa. And I obeka chole am my main call coffee ho next house let me copy notes because me huni and I may try no. On to mount the impression that the child is not seeing clearly at all class. But you feel so sometimes, as I said, you better me discharge, baby fit table and you so on apart. You can see it because you are the parent sometimes you bond in you know or can bond robbing near more intense or tower robbing in you know or pussy in you know. At times too, you know, bond there or one of my to me catch there and I and I read without any cause. All these things or don't wondering by there after but typically when I watch TV anima chide woko TV anima san wo TV no one so no could be at risk of an eye condition so we shall chide wo banani yes
so nipa no effective no baiting na just a problem with the eye.
It could be that action itself now or about TV anima is totally wrong. But then they can't help it. Or show who you should all be in TV and said who you. In Penifuni be the same problem.
Okay.
They want to me who subtitles and you know they want to move forward to see it clearer.
Okay, so I feel so would TV na to high active morning show na yene Dr. Samuel Fifi Ahun or ye optometrist yes optometrist you can say obi optometrist I say or your doctor or share anywhere I'm not in any trick one I share say abofrano and I say mofrano any no paya be fast abo ho by na asambo mu omu school komu okay dog so me person bisa say abofrano school no what are some of the things are ma unya problem e wonani.
Wow, so that's a very good question. There are a lot of things over to my course a child to have a discomfort and I say man in the school. In pain pina if you are warm, I mean naturally it's not here. Or the other one I mean kind of say in no I did with show who and I said they burn on who I don't know. It's not about it's not hard. You know why be beyond and sakai silent the other one. I told the biswa a woman say yim obi jiwa wo na se wan to no boss and jiwa wo ye na se o mia a part of your head and I say or press it or the pressure to a nerve be a wo uti ho na say wa adwen ho it can actually cause a condition. Your nerves will break, but then the nerves are one of the major nerves are control eye movements in here oculomotor nerve. Okay, now say Sa nerve way na say there is too much pressure also during delivery now it may cause so many conditions in the eye including amblyopia and I say strabismus. Sometimes I'm making maybe no being here but me can say strabismus painfulness will be any chill means what that will be mission maybe as all sure but then back with and I say yeah so those people are also there too. And very important say who say obinya condition be at a very early stage. Na say you to near address a problem in time. Only bro at the age of 9 and as a 10 we may not be able to do anything about it. It be a surgery in between about but we cannot correct it. But a chassis now the neighbor near there's a high possibility sending in between okay and better. Yeah, so that is the only one number.
Now, in the school, what are some of the systems the school authorities should put in place to prevent eye problem and getting to the child? So,
as I said, for some of them they cannot do anything about it. But some of them that can be acquired, maybe to them trauma to the eye, or be the baby bone and I say a sharp object, it's a compass, one say, or mathematical set, containing some sharp instruments. I think that those instruments should be, there should be a regulation there. You have to use it under supervision, because they are into play. So if they throw something like that, and it can actually cause an injury to someone's eye. So it's very important that we monitor them whilst they are even using some of these studying materials. Finally, they have to be educated about some of these things. And our advice there, teachers in particular should be educated on how to handle children. The last time I had a case, let me say we had a case. What happened there? After baby, what the pry another broomstick, where they running, and it was really deeply embedded. And then when the child came, now we broomstick in the and it was, whatever was inside was popping out, and that was a bad thing. Baby showing anymore, don't pull it out. Leave it there and get to the nearest hospital or the nearest appropriate person and then be attended to. But the moment you're there, you want to pull it out because we will name our to no, the eye is a bit different, so you have to handle it with care. Sometimes to say chemical big woman, you don't have to. Just ignore it. You have to wash with a lot of water. Not just one, not just two, but a lot of water. So we call it copious irrigation. In other words, more frequently, and I do it a lot all the time. So that would wash away the chemicals, because chemicals will on say just on the surface. It eats deep, especially alkaline chemicals. They go in deeper and then they destroy lots of tissues. Until bone there. Because a good minute so no and normal, but at the chain the asset that means has really gone deep, and then the tendency of you being blind from that is very, very high. So when you have any chemical on your eye, you do something called copious irrigation. So the teachers must be taught how to handle children in these emergencies, and then the children too must be educated on how to handle these emergencies, because there are lots of them. If I want to, I don't think so we'll finish, because there are lots of eye emergency first aid and other eye emergency training we have to give to teachers.
Okay, now let's come back to the home. In the house, what should parents do to also shield their children from getting into serious eye problem?
It's very difficult to answer that, because they don't really listen to what you are saying. They just want to have fun. So, and they're even more curious. I catch one them when you're there. I don't want to know better way and no experiences. So I think that parents should be more proactive. Or that would to mean Nyama Obertuma Homofobano. Now when you free, baby, the child can easily reach it. So we normally have something put in written on labels. Keep out of the reach of children. In other words, when I'm fun to baby after but in baby somewhere another in him there a crowd on into me, because if you joke with them, they would actually bring problems to you. Yes, so that's one. Secondly, you should be more concerned about children. Don't be thinking about your business all the time and then your marital issues all the time. But we remember for Bandoso, because the moment you're always thinking about other things, you get distracted. You don't even focus on the child. But so why dream about Bando? Ebe hunde no afabano. Nancy Huandi, they be actually banini mansan or Huandi. They be actually opposite in you. The more you see, the more you're able to tell the child is in trouble, then you can actually report to the appropriate authorities. Okay,
a quick one. What are the foods and diets in Mofrano? Yeah, far more na Emma or more ice and stay strong.
Wow, okay. So this is also a very broad topic, but I may try them in now. Let me say that what you would want to give the child, sometimes one pay. Of course, so between my culture or on leaves, but leaves are very essential for the children. Okay, sometimes to let me be specific. Sweets are not so encouraged to be given to children because they have tendencies of starting certain conditions. So we don't encourage you to give them too much sweets. But then food like carrot should be added to their diet almost all the time. Carrot. There is something called kali. I don't know if you've heard about it. Why the cabbage? It's kali. It has that kind of green nature. It's also very good. It's very rich in vitamin C and it's good for children too. No, every leafy vegetable is good for children. Let me just put it in that bracket. I don't want to talk about them. Impediment about their constituents. So every leafy vegetable is good for the children. But vitamin A giving foods are really good for children. Example, or a typical example, no, a carrot. So every meal be a baby, try to include carrots in the meal. Every meal, even if it's soup, because I know that soups in Ibu my between the carrots are soup, and it's good for a child's eye. And not just a child, but the whole family to us at large.
Okay. Now, most of the parents are saying, the entire almost me from say, it's so expensive to do to run an eye treatment. Even with your frames, all bad at the end of the day, no work as on to frame. Or better framing so nobody they so they feel say sana work cannot you the function go academy so you
better
okay. What would you advise when it comes to such situation? But I know a lot of your outfits will be normal national health insurance account. Emma situation make the Emma parents no.
Well, you're right to some extent. I don't want to talk about national health insurance. I about national health insurance. But then there are other insurance packages we are already on. So most of us, especially Jebs Eye Care, your insurance need be on me. You sue Metropolitan Insurance and other insurances too. Yes. So if you come around that, you will more insurance. But then, my main address the issue of I don't think it's true. The reason is that, of course, expensive and a day or your relative a day to you may not be like expensive to other people. However, the cost of treating a condition and treating it early would be more expensive than a preventive condition. Well, let me say prevention is cheaper than treatment. So we have found team there saying ebe prevent and manage the management will be more expensive. And besides, for children, you will less expensive frames. In fact, their frames are even one of the cheapest on the market with Jebs Eye Care. So if you are having any challenge of financing your urban eye care, I think that the best thing to do is contact Jebs Eye Care because you have a package for children alone. And your packages for children are there, and then they have so much discounted prices on some of our medications and everything. So I think that it's our advice parents to look at Jebs Eye Care if you are coming for treatment. Okay,
now frequently, how often should we? Because you can't say you medical checkup, but it's like you share some parts of our body, we don't even check the eye. Frequently, even not only children but adults. How should we check? How often should we check for our eye?
There's no, let me say, there's no straight bullet for that. The issue is that Obi Wohonoma condition would allow him to see an eye doctor like 4 times in a year. Obi so many condition is not that much, so he may need to see an eye doctor like twice or once in a year. So it depends on your condition, okay? But normally, we advise that twice in a year is okay. Just 2 times in a year is fine.
2 times in a year?
Yes.
Okay. So what are the things that you are going to check? Okay, if I say maybe I see myself to have a normal eye, there's no problem. So when I come there, what are you going to check? What are you checking for?
So Obiba, Jebs Eye Care and other eye clinic for that matter now, what we normally look at checking is that we look at when you know, like the surface, okay, but we use a microscope, it's a biomicroscope, or the ability to look at even the smallest particle or the when do. And then we look at different sections of when that's the anterior surface, Yes, sure, because they're in layers. So we look at every layer, try and see the BB recordo and the BB how. Then we look at the back of the eye, or your when nature. So when nature there, the whole ball nature, but inside the eye, the back of the inside of the eye. The blood vessels, pina, or the horses and nerves, So we look there and then we try and see there. Usually, baby, record with me anymore. And Maminka, the master me, say, baby, yo, body nima. The best place to find it is in your eye.
Okay.
Yes, because I can tell if somebody is diabetic from the eye. I can tell if somebody is hypertensive from the eye. I can tell if somebody is having of course, glaucoma is definitely find the eye. But then someone's having something like hypercholesterolemia or hyperlipidemia in the eye. So in a cholesterol tube and like cholesterol or shrub, you can tell that also from the eye. So almost, let me say, many of the conditions, you can actually tell from examination of the eye. That is if you meet a very qualified person to examine your eye.
Okay, you discussion, but I want you to advise, final advice to parents on what they should do to keep their children safe.
Parents should not underestimate eye care. People think that normal, they are most concerned about the heart and then the brain and those kind of things. At least if your heart stops, you're dead. At least if your brain is not functioning, you're mad. You are not even aware. But if your eyes go blind, or if you are blind, you are aware you are blind. You have to leave. You cannot kill yourself. And I think that's a more dangerous thing that people have to really be much particular about. And just so that you know, if anybody is considering, and there will be filled there, eye care and anybody now. Jeps Eye Care, we are running a very wonderful package for anybody at all. So within this month and next month, we'll be all by us or we'll have a discounted percentage of our products. And then trust me, are very cheap. It's not like other places, but say the consultation 100 CDs. No, our place is not like that. Our place is far cheaper.
With a free advert span,
it's far cheaper and far better. Yeah, so I would advise every parent to not joke with eye care. And if say I think the best place is all about Jeps Eye Care, because we are more concerned about health than the financial part of the whole enterprise. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, Dr. Fifi, I please help me the name.
Ehun.
Okay. Dr. Fifi, Samo Fifi Ehun, oye optometrist or Jeps Eye Care. Na the train komo efa enino, especially with the children, send a baby ama or menino I safe. Because I can't send a near the year automatically. Na this year, and so a perform. And okay.
But let me chip in something, if I can.
Okay.
I want to talk about our location. Can I?
Okay, but let me give you the opportunity.
Yes, because if I know one more social media. So Jeps Eye Care, your Musuku runabout, Ufri, your man say Ashoma Estate. We are just opposite at this plaza.
Okay.
Yes, so that's Jeps Eye Care.
Unye fi apen na me marketing team so beto so hona. Udu office ara mo so mo ho mo twen ona. No, I can business. Amen. Can amen? I mean, say what you
Amen.
Okay. Okay. It's I did my call car and say, I know. It is very. It's very important to keep the eye safe. Now, or can be like a camera or this when you know or show when you know a bit much say you require yo. It is or show when you hey, you go from how much about do daughter, what the nyameba, or more no much to kill says some banner, usher many mammy. Inti meba, white to put me off cry. It was a nino, and when you pass it, you better hospital. Now you share you know, am I doctor? I better sell by you better be one by your bar. nkomotwetwe no so ebeto aso menko be bia.
Your